Got B.B.King in today's lesson, and in this example he's demonstrating how he likes to play over the chord changes. It's a 12-bar blues in the key of G. So we've got a G7, a C9 and a D9. Let's check out the video and then we'll break it down lick by lick with tabs. So I've put on the tabs above each lick what chord each lick's being played over. So I'm going to break it down now. We'll play a lick and then we'll talk about each lick with the tabs. So the first lick. So that's over the one chord. So you can think of your G7 in this third position. Now BB starts off, so you can also think of your G minor pentatonic scale. And we'll be adding in that major third because we're talking about a dominant 7 blues. So it starts off on the 5 of the scale, so that's the 3rd fret of the B. And then we're going to straight away, we're going to go B, the B string, the 3rd fret. And then we're going to push up the 6th fret of the high E. A whole step. So we're going to push it up to a C. Back down, play the 6 again. And then back to the 3rd fret of the high E, that's the root. Then we're going to go 6, 6, 3 on the B string, so it's pentatonic. Then we're going to go 5, 4 on the G. And finish that lick with some vibrato back on the 5 of the scale, which is the 3rd fret of the B string. So when we go 4, 3 on the G, the 4th fret is the major third of the chord. And then we finish on the 5 of the chord, the 3rd fret of the B string. So that works perfectly over the 1 chord. And then the next lick goes to the 4 chord, so it's C9. Or you can think of C7 up here on the 8th fret, because that's where we're going to be moving to play this lick. So that lick, he comes up into the 8th position, so C9 or C7. You can think of your C dominant 7 arpeggio. You know, if you want to study BB's playing, it's great to know these arpeggios all over the neck. So he starts off 10th fret of the high E, and this would be major pentatonic. So again, we're going to be mixing major and minor pentatonic. So we're going to push up the 10th fret, a whole step, 10th fret of the high E, and by pushing that up to the 10th fret up a whole step, you go into that E, which is the major third of the 4 chord. So straight away we're bending into that major third. So we're going to push up, and then we're going to come back down to the 10th fret and play it again. So we're going to push up 10 to 12, back back down to the 10th, play it, and then B does a half step bend, or it's like a 3/4 step bend with his first finger on the 8th fret, and he pushes that up, then back down and plays the 8th fret, so he plays the C. So altogether, just that beginning part of that lick. Then he comes over to the 11th fret of the B, that's the flat 7 of the chord. He plays the 11th fret of the B, and then straight away does a hammer-on pull-off on the B, 8th to the 10th fret, pulls off back to the 8th. Then he comes over to the 9th fret of the G, and then plays the 8th fret of the B. So if you're thinking about your C7 chord in mind, that 9th fret of the G would be the major third, and then the 8th fret of the B would be the 5th of the chord. Then he comes back to the 9th fret of the G, and then if you think of this C major chord, he plays the 9th fret of the G, so it's the major third. Then he does a stack, so it's 10th fret of the D, which is the root, then 10th fret of the A string, which is the 5 of the chord, and then he finishes the lick with some vibrato. He plays the flat 7 of the chord, which is the 8th fret of the D. So he walks right up that C triad and then finishes on the flat 7. Sorry. So that's over C9, or C7. So that's outlining a C7 chord, or a C9. You got that flat 7. Next lick. So now he goes back to the 1 chord. So we've got a lick and it's mixing major and minor, and you can think of box 1 minor pentatonic. So he starts off on the 6th fret of the high E, and he goes up chromatically 6 to 7, and then we've got 3rd fret on the high E, 3rd fret on the B, and then we go 5, 4 on the G, so that's the 4 into the major third, and then the same thing we did for this C. We're going to go, and then we're going to stack the back end of this chord, 5th fret of the D, and then we're going to go 5th fret of the A string, then 3rd fret to the 2nd fret, which is the major third again, and then reach over and grab the root on the D string on the 5th fret. So far that lick. To finish that lick, he goes to the 3rd fret of the G string and slides into the 3rd, so it's 3 to 4, slides into the major third, and then gives it some vibrato on the 3rd fret of the B string. That's the 5th of the chord. So that's over the 1 chord. All together from the beginning up to that point. And you could play the chords as well, so you could start, you could play the G7, then the lick, next lick. So this you can think of, it's going into the 5 chord. So we're going to start off on the 8th fret of the B. I'm going to do a major pentatonic run in G. So we're going to go, that's our G root. We're going to go from the 8th fret of the B, then we're going to play the 10th fret, sliding into the 12th, and then we're going to go 10, 12 on the high E, and then we're going to push up a half step. That would take us into the flat 7 of the tonic. Back to the 10th fret on the high E. Then we're going to push up the 11th fret of the B string, that's the minor 3rd of G. Then we're going to go 12, 11 on the G. So that would take you into the major 3rd of this D7 or D9. And then he walks down on the D string chromatically from the D on the 12th fret of the D string. And he finishes that part on the 8th fret of the D string as a C note, which is the flat 7 of our 5 chord. Again, you can think of your D7 arpeggio in this spot. So that whole lick from the 5 chord. And then it walks back to the 4 chord. So after this lick, BB plays down, he sort of does a rake down this C major triad. So you've got 10th fret of the D, that's the root of C. So remember now we're walking back from the 5 chord to the 4 chord into the 1 chord. A middle finger on the 9th fret of the G, that's the major 3rd. And then we've got the 5 of the chord on the 8th fret of the B. So it walks down this C major triad, but he sort of rakes pretty quick. And then after that, he grabs a 10th fret of the B, slides into the 12th. So you can think of this as major pentatonic for G from this 8th fret of the B string. Then we go 10, 12 on the high E, and then stings that 15th fret high E, which is your root, it's the G, and that's B.B.King does that move a lot. So that whole lick from the 5 chord. And then when he's done that high E root, he's going to come back up here into the BB box. I'm going to push up on the 10th fret of the B, a whole step, release, pull off to the 8th, all with one pick. Go to the 9th fret of the G, and then back to the 8th fret of the B. That's our tonic with some B.B.King vibrato. And then we're going to the turnaround.
Yeah. That's great.
So the turnaround, he comes back up into position 1 and position 1 minor pentatonic, and he plays, I'm going to play it really slowly, then I'll go over it. So we've got 6th fret of the B, and then we play the high E, 3rd fret, then we go 5th fret of the B, and then to the 3rd fret of the high E again, then we go 3rd fret of the B to the 5th fret of the G, and then he goes into the major 3rd, which is the 4th fret of the G. Then he's up this G triad, so you've got 5th fret, D string, 5th fret, A string, then 3rd fret, A, into the major 3rd on the 2nd fret, A. Then turns it around and does a hit on the 5 chord by going 3, 4, 5 on the A. And then he builds this D7 to finish it. And that's it, so that turnaround. So I'm going to play through the whole thing really slowly. That's that. I'll put this video along with the PDF tabs on my Patreon page, which I'll link down below. You don't have to pay for it. Everything I do on YouTube with the tabs, I'm going to put everything on my Patreon page as well. If you've got any questions or any requests, please just put it in the comments. And thanks to everyone that subscribed and give me really cool feedback. It really pushes me on to do more of these things. So I'll see you in a couple of days for another video. Cheers.